One of the joys I've had of directing a little bit is working with some great actors and giving them opportunities to do stuff, and it's just as enjoyable, maybe more, than me doing it.
One thing I saw you do that, like, it was awesome to see this when you were directing, and you were also in a scene, was directing the other person
while I was off camera.
Exactly. Yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I'm closer than any director would ever be.
Right.
I mean, it's a little schizophrenic because you're like parent and child, but still, if I'm off camera,
you would give a different performance when you're off camera.
I don't have to tell you, oh, Cameron, I want you to be more afraid.
Right.
I can, do something to try to do that.
Yeah.
I can do that in a different way. So then it doesn't become, you're not thinking about the request, demand, action, doing. Result, which is the worst thing about, smile here, be lighter. If I want you to be lighter, I could do it more like, say, I really want you to give me that piece of chocolate. You know what I mean?
There was one particular scene where you were giving so much off camera to your scene partner, but then the camera turned on you and you were very impassive, and so the scene is more about their emotions and then you not being available. So you were doing completely different jobs. Yeah, which was really cool.
Off camera, you can really help make another person. Remember, if you do it for them off camera, the person doesn't do anything except receive it, and that's it.
Right.
And so there are actors who are great off camera to help you and do stuff,
but there are ways to avoid talking. As a director, there are ways to avoid talking to people.
If I say, I want you to be, then it becomes this adjective, right? Is that the right? That I'm saying, like, okay, fear, or
be this,
I don't do that. Usually as a director, I would say, why don't you try that, But it's hard to say, there are directors who say, it should be lighter, you should smile more, and then the person's, it's mechanical. But if the other person, you say to the other person, try to make them laugh a little bit, or do something for them.
There was one time when somebody was uncomfortable, it was some difficulty with the scene, and instead of talking about it ad nauseum with them, you told them a funny story about something that happened to you in Europe, and they were just laughing, and then you're like, okay, ready to do the scene. I was like, very interesting. Like,
I've done that a lot. I've done a lot, especially when people freeze.
Right.
Because what happens is, once it's not working, you start feeling really self-conscious, and you see it can happen to anybody, and even it could happen to Meryl Streep. I think she said, she got self-conscious about an accent, and then you just see it, and then it's like, so you've got to get them out of that. So how do you get them out of it? By telling them to get out of it, or maybe doing something that's a non sequitur, but can lead them into relaxing them.
And they don't know that you're directing them in that moment.
Because they're so desperate to get the attention off of themselves. The camera's pointing on them. They're freezing. They know everyone's going, fucking, this guy can't do it. This lady can't do it. But it's like you have to use everything in your arsenal, and and in the moment you better be able to think under pressure and think fast. And I see directors, kill actors. I've seen them,
You mean by talking to them to death?
Or just like, come on, no, they just don't know that little extra 5 minutes, that little extra thing. And just saying, well, do one, do one that's bad.
Just loosen somebody else.
Just try something like ridiculous.
Right.
Do something for me. Not every show is that way, but even in a serious drama, sometimes it's fun to have, just to be loose. Because being relaxed, anything's possible. Being tense, you're limited. You're limited.
I find there's a lot of tension on like TV shows and like a lot of mumbling and stuff like that.
Well, people don't talk. I mean, I do, like in the stage, you have to hear, but people on TV shows, or even movies, they don't like this.
I was watching Hill Street Blues recently, and the acting is so muscular, you can hear everything, but it's still real. And I was like, why can't things be like that?
Well, people in real life don't whisper, because if they whispered, the other person wouldn't hear what they said, and they would fall asleep, or they would say, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? Like, what did you say? So you have to hear it, and then sometimes you speak a little bit louder like that, and the director will say, well, is that a little loud? And I'm saying, no. No, I can't hear him. So,
Right.
But that's really, Marlon Brando started that whole thing. And everybody did that because everybody was like, he was his own guy. That's who he was. I mean, James Dean mumbled because of Marlon Brando.